Welcome to Mixology Phrenology. I'm Bitter Steve, and last week I introduced the idea of Brut Americano and Gran Classico as a replacement for Campari. And let's explore this a little further with a bunch of cocktails showcasing Tbsp Gran Classico, a delicious spirit recreated from an 1860s recipe from Turin, Italy. Why does this intro look like next week's video? I'm sure we're all familiar with Campari, a classic red bitter liqueur dominated by the flavor of Chinotto orange peel and cascarilla bark. There are dozens of competitors, each with their own unique flavor, all bright red. But as I discussed in my last video, they now use artificial color, and I've switched to Brut Americano, which still uses cactus bugs to create this deeper shade of red. Now, I still keep Campari around if I need that crazy punchy color, though I may start experimenting with some of these other choices. Now, today's show isn't about these red bitters, but another one that I tend to use interchangeably depending on the flavor profile that I'm looking for, Tbsp Gran Classico. So keep in mind that this is not sponsored. I bought this at the store, and I'm not a fan of all their products. And since I don't like to have one-off bottles with limited use, I've got 6 cocktails designed specifically for this bitter liqueur, and we're gonna hit each one in pairs. Let's start with the 2 listed on the bottle, the Gran Negroni and the Gran Spritz. Both of these are 100-year-old classic aperitif cocktails. The Negroni with equal parts gin, bitters, and sweet vermouth, and the Spritz is bitter liqueur and a heavy dose of Prosecco. Very simple. One gets shaken with cracked ice and served in a coupe, the other will build in a tall glass over ice. Now, both of these are good cocktails, but maybe the Negroni is a little sweet, and the Spritz is a little, I don't know, boring? Let's switch out our normal vermouth for Punti Mace and see if anyone notices. Wow, that's bitterier, more bitter. Why not just use Campari, which is already this bitter? Well, there is so much more depth now from all the herbal and earthy notes of that Gran Classico mixed with that Punti Mace. Awesome cocktail. I've also got a Spritz for the Spritz, a simple aromatic tincture I put together using Mezcal, mint, cilantro, and coriander seed. That's in the description below. This is a little bit more interesting now. The next 2 are a couple of riffs, one based on the last word and the other is just a bittered martini. The last word is a 1915 classic, and here we're going to replace the maraschino liqueur and green chartreuse with Gran Classico and yellow chartreuse. I believe the green chartreuse to be too powerful and will overshadow the Gran Classico, and the yellow will match better here. I'm also using a fairly powerful gin, one with plenty of juniper and a touch higher proof to cut through these bold, bitter flavors. Wow, that yellow chartreuse adds a sharpness that I think the Gran Classico lacks, but it does make it a little bit sour. I think adding just a touch more gin might cut right through that. I'm using a real London dry gin for the martini, and I'm also throwing in some Coca Americano to balance out the earthy notes of the Gran Classico. If you've noticed that I'm adding lemon peel to the shaker, this is called a royal shake, and it adds just another layer of simple, mellow cocktails, especially martinis. This is impressive. It's simple and elegant, very easy to drink. These last two are experimental, and I have no idea how these will turn out, but they seem like good ideas in my head. I haven't used sherry for a while, so let's grab this bottle, which has a nice nutty flavor, and pair it with some dry vermouth and our bitter liqueur for a simple post-aperitif I'm calling Sherry Deserves Better. I'm using another lemon peel, and this is called a royal stir, though this may just be for looks, as I can't imagine this will really add anything to our cocktail. Stir with ice and serve straight up. Wow, that's nice. The nutty flavor of the sherry blends well with the vermouth, and the Gran Classico is a nice touch, not too bitter. Our last cocktail has now turned into two cocktails, because I couldn't decide the best way to handle it. The first one will have grappa, limoncello, and some fresh juices. I love grappa, but always have a hard time building cocktails to showcase this amazing spirit. So let's see if this works out. Throw all this in a glass with a giant ice cube and stir it up. The other will replace the grappa and the limoncello with yuzu gin. Yeah, finally a use for this bottle, which was a background prop in some of my earliest videos. How the hell do you open this thing? Here we're going to shake this one with ice and serve it in a coupe using an orange peel royal shake. We're going to top it with a spritz of one of our tinctures, the one made with gin and mint. Grappa has such an interesting character and adds so much to this cocktail. That's really nice. The yuzu gin version really tastes like something you'd find in a fancy restaurant. It's tasty and bright and seems like it would be a lot more expensive than it actually is. So there's 6 cocktails, well 7 technically, suited for Gran Classico. So this bottle is no longer a one-off. I hope you try some of these and let me know in the comments if you have this bottle. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.